Welcome everybody to today's channel. I often get asked how I do a water change on my 220. So I figured I'd do a video today and we'll see, how it goes. Maybe more videos to come. But yeah, so there used to be a room on the other side of the of my basement that has a hole in the floor, and there used to be a drain because there was the washer and dryer. When I moved the washer and dryer, I just put in a couple of fittings in the floor, and now my whole system drains into the drain, luckily convenient, in my basement floor. So I just have about 20 feet of tubing. Here what I'm doing is, as the tank is starting to drain, I mix up the refugium a little bit, get the algae off the plants. You can see that it's cloudy now. And that'll run it through the sump into the main tank. Now here I have to rearrange some plants that Pesci the Oscar has decided to move around and rip off, so you can't see the plumbing. He likes to do that all the time. So I have to rearrange the plants and every single time, and sometimes the big rocks and that I have to move. Then I usually go on to the other side of the tank and grab any floaters that are on there, any trash that is over there, and magnet the glass. And I usually stir up the tank. You can see how it's getting stirred up now because I'm doing the glass. Excuse me. That is so all the water will go up the pipe and into the filter as well. Algae likes to build up on the black, so my wife doesn't like the algae on the back of the glass, back glass, so I have to get the algae off. And I just do some cleaning and everything I can, check everything and make sure everything's good, and then we just let it drain. I always love watching the fish this time of the water change, because they can sense something's going on, and especially if you watch the pumpkin seeds in the middle, they always get the chubs going crazy, and then the Oscar starts going crazy, and it's just mayhem in the tank. And just watch as the water level decreases, how Pesci the Oscar decides that it's time to throw a fit every time. It's also very comical how they start to go nuts. Yep, you can see Pesci now getting angry. So that's going to happen. Now it's at this point of the water change that I usually start messing around with the other tank in the room, because every other Sunday I just do both of these tanks together, because I'm already doing one on the big tank. So I let this tank drain to about a third. I change every 2 weeks. Keeps the nitrates really, really low, and I don't have to do as much as I used to anymore, because the refugium, all the plants that you can see are just absolutely crazy, and they absolutely suck up all of these nitrates. So luckily I only have to do a third of the tank every 2 weeks. Now here is where I start to trim all of the plants outside of the sump. I'll usually trim the Moses of the Cradle, the Wandering Jew. I'll trim the dead leaves off of that so it grows real nice. Oh man, you can see Pesci freaking out if you pay attention. He's starting to get real angry again. But anyway, this is where I trim the Black Widow a little bit if it needs to, and the pothos. If I have any other plants, I can throw them in the 30-gallon if I want, which I have done. Pretty soon I'm just going to be giving plants away. That's pretty cool. So we'll see what happens with that. Now it's at this point where the tank is at 30, 30, well, I mean, a third of the way done. So what I do now is I suck a little bit out of the refugium. I don't touch the substrate at all. I don't suck any of that out, because you don't want to, because obviously that's all your food for the plants. But what I do is I rough up the water in the refugium, and then I suck it out. Now I have a valve in my ceiling that I turn on, and I ran plumbing all the way to the tank from the other side of the basement, so that way I can turn a valve and it'll fill the tank by itself. I just stand there, as you see now, just to make sure that everything's going good, and then I usually go sit down and just watch the tank fill. Now, as the tank starts to get full, there's an overflow pipe in the back of the tank where the water goes in to get to the sump. I have to manually prime it because I made the sump myself, as I explained in another video, that my 220 cannot be pre-drilled, and it wasn't originally made with an overflow because it is a tempered tank. So I had to invent my own overflow, which I did get from a video here like 20 years ago, 15 years ago. So I have to prime it, which is not bad. There's just an air tube. You just suck the air out of the system, and then it takes 5 seconds. And then you can see that once it's primed, that I'm reaching up and there's a valve above the sump, and that valve above the sump tops it off, and then I feed the fishies. As I'm saying here, is we're gonna feed them for being good boys and girls for the water change, and this is it. This is my water change on my 220. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And, you know, if you like and subscribe, that would be great. And we'll see you in the next video. And hopefully there'll be a live coming soon. So like and subscribe. I love everybody. And have a good weekend. And let's enjoy fish together.